Hey everyone, this is Gregory Hart. This is the Heart to Heart podcast. This is episode 28. 28. Let's get it. Let's go get it. Go get it. Go get it. On this week's episode, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with a Disney star. Look at the paint on my car. I tried. He's been in numerous shows. He's been in movies. He's in a brand new Disney movie called Sneakerella. Give it up for Kolton Stewart.
Great.
Kolton, how are you, man?
I'm good, dude. How you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you via Zoom.
Yeah, sounds like that's the new normal for right now.
For sure.
But are you in Canada?
Yeah, I actually live in Stratford, Ontario now. I'm from Norfolk County and lived there for most of my life, but I live in Stratford now.
Did Kevin tell you where I live?
He did not tell me where you live.
I live in Tavistock.
Oh, you live in Tavistock? Okay, no way. There you go. Halfway point. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's jokes.
Very cool.
Man, small world. So you've obviously been traveling a lot. You just finished a new Disney movie called Sneakerella, correct?
Yeah. Sneakerella, yes. Yeah, I did that last year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So COVID and everything maybe slowed that down, or?
Yeah, like COVID was an interesting time, obviously for everyone, but for acting, everything obviously shut down for the first 6 months, just while we were all figuring out what we were doing. But basically in the summer of 2020, I guess they found a way to film in as safe as possible way, with obviously a lot of rigorous testing, being tested every other day, and a lot of PPE and mask wearing and all of that. So ever since then, I've kind of been working the whole time, which I'm really thankful for, that, you know, the filming world has been able to find a way to continue to film during this time. So yes, I did Sneakerella last year, and that was awesome. That was in Toronto. So it's always great when I can film something in Toronto, because I get to kind of be close to home and go home on the weekends and stuff. And then, I went to Ireland this past year to film another Disney movie called Disenchanted, which is the sequel to Enchanted, which came out I think 15 years.
You're busy.
Yeah. And then I just got back from Newfoundland. I was in Newfoundland for 4 months filming a new sci-fi show that premieres this month. So yeah, it's been a crazy, actually insane past 2 years. Obviously COVID included, but yeah, it's been cool.
I don't think that the general public truly respects or understands that someone could be an actor here. I know that might sound stupid, but
for sure,
the whole perception around it is always like LA, Hollywood. You gotta be there. That's where it all is. But clearly, that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought the same myself. I did move to LA. I lived in LA for almost 2 years, and it definitely was beneficial. And obviously, a lot of things happen out of LA. But nowadays, with technology and also with COVID, it's become so online oriented. All my auditions now are via Zoom or self-taping and sending an audition tape. I do meetings and auditions the way we're talking now over Zoom.
Yeah.
And then you go wherever you need to go to film. So you really don't need to be based in any particular area anymore, which is awesome. I definitely think there was a time when you had to go to LA or had to go to New York or Toronto
Makes a lot of sense.
At the very least. Yeah, but we're kind of at a point now where you can be anywhere, which is awesome for me, because I'm not a huge city guy anyways. I prefer to live in a smaller town or in the country. So it's worked out well for me.
Good for you. When did this acting addiction or passion start?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I definitely was not interested in acting earlier on in my my younger days. I had a passion for drumming. Drumming was the first love, and still kind of continues to be a huge love of mine. I played all kinds of drums. I played in the pipe band, Scottish pipe band, for
nice.
A weird reason. Yeah, I grew up in a town, or I lived in a town called Kincardine,
Yeah, I know where that is.
For until I was about 5. And for some reason in Kincardine, they have a huge like pipe band Scottish roots there. So every Saturday night they closed the main streets, and a big pipe band would play and march down the main road. And it's a big spectacle in Kincardine. So I kind of got involved with that and started playing pipe band drums. I went to Scotland when I was like 4 years old to compete in the world championships and stuff. So that was my passion. I moved to Norfolk County when I was 5 or 6, and I started to get into sports as well. I started to play football. And then I was playing football in Brantford, and I broke my leg out of practice. So I had nothing else to do for the summer. And then my mom's friend suggested that I should audition for the Stratford Festival because they were putting on a production of The Music Man. And in The Music Man, they need a lot of kid musicians and kid drummers and stuff. So I auditioned with like a full leg cast. And then I got the role. It was crazy. But then I got the role based off of my drumming skills, but I had never sung or acted or anything. But then I just ended up being on this like, huge stage in front of 2,000 people every night, performing with all of these artists. And that was kind of the initial thing that started it all.
Wow. Okay. So 4 years old, you're going to Scotland.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, pipe band was a big thing for me for some reason.
Apparently, it started young. That's got to be like impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a lot of kids like would play with, do different things that were fun, and for some reason, drumming was the thing that I found the most fun. So I just did it all the time.
I loved drumming. Like I remember getting my first set when I was probably like 12. Never good, absolute trash. Like never good.
Oh, I'm sure you were fine. Yeah, it's great, and drumming is the core of all of my other musicianship with piano and guitar and stuff. It all kind of comes from a drumming standpoint in terms of the rhythm and I'm very grateful for that skill that I got early on.
I always thought like I really like I have rhythm. I definitely have rhythm. Like I got it. Then I'd hop on a drum set, and I think I was always so busy with other sports and stuff that I never really put enough time into it. I took a couple lessons, wasn't the type to just like go home and practice it. I don't know why. Maybe it wasn't a big enough passion. Yeah. But I remember like just trying to make my arms work separate from my legs.
Right.
It's just like maybe this isn't for me.
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
But no, that's a cool way to start. Like that's how you got into music. I've seen that you sing clearly. That's got to be a huge aspect, or not a huge aspect, but a huge help to getting certain roles.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the first thing I ever did was The Music Man, which is a musical theater show. And with musical theater, it involves acting, singing, and dancing. So kind of my first job had to include all of those things. And then from there, I started to branch out and focus on those 3 different things separately, focus on my singing, focus on dancing. I danced competitively for a long time and obviously act. So I'm really grateful for doing musical theater because musical theater requires all 3 and to be able to do all 3 at a decently high level. So it's been I'm still continuing to train and practice to perfect as close as I can all those skill sets. But yeah, that was kind of the original reason why I started to branch out and work on singing and dancing and acting.
Are you not like 23?
I'm 22.
You've done a lot so far.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I started early, so
good for you. And that's actually something I did want to bring up. Like, was it always Disney? Like, was Disney one of the first starts into like? I understand Stratford Festival. It's huge. There's a ton of people. Right. It's constant. It's a big thing for Stratford area. But when was your first like big break? They say.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you consider a big break. Like right after Stratford, I went to do the Broadway national tour of The Lion King, and I played Simba for almost a little over a year and a half. So that was, you could say, a big break in the theater world. It doesn't get too much bigger than Broadway, and obviously doing The Lion King, which is a pretty big show. So that was awesome. And then a couple years later, I ended up on the Ellen DeGeneres show, which I think a lot of people can consider my big break just because of obviously the show and the amount of people that see it.
Did she yell at you?
No, she was very kind.
I'm just kidding.
She was extremely kind to me. That's so funny. Very controversial topic.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just
hilarious. With you. No, I love that. But yeah, no, she was cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I've ever had necessarily a big break, which I actually am very grateful for because I think getting something too big too fast can result in a lot of different things. Obviously, you see that with a lot of people, but also just losing the love of something. I've had to slowly grind at this, and every achievement that I've gotten has been like a very slow burn and a step up and a step up and a step up, which I think has allowed me to continue to do this because I've had enough, I guess, quote unquote, success to continue to do this for a living, but also it hasn't been like anything crazy too fast where it's been like, oh, I made it, or oh, this isn't what I want, or whatever. It's just been a slow, steady burn, which sometimes I'm not grateful for, but looking, in the bigger picture, it's good.
No, I that's wicked that you put it that way, though, or at least that now you look at it that way, because there's a lot of people that start off at a young age acting and doing stuff that you're doing that don't make it out very well. Sure. Like, yeah, they might make it out well in wealth wise or popularity, but not in their mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, even just people that I used to act with when I was younger, it's really interesting to see the people that like fallen off. They haven't fallen off. They've chosen other great career paths, but who don't do this anymore. I'm one of the few that I still do it, from people that, when I was 8 or 9 years old working with kids. A lot of them don't do it anymore. And there's many reasons for that. It's a very, very hard career. I don't suggest it for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. I
feel like it'd be very stressful, up and down, trying to get parts. You're always at a grind. You're always trying to make sure you're planning for the next thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So going from there, you were in the Stratford Theater. You were on Broadway. That's obviously huge. I've never even been to a play, so I can't say
wow, man, you gotta come to Stratford when they're doing shows again.
Yes, I definitely do. I'm actually new to this area. Like, I was from Tillsonburg. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I grew up there, and then my fiance I met in college. We moved to Tavistock, got used to Stratford. The Stratford Festival is crazy. Like, there's so many people that are going in and out of there throughout the year when COVID's not on. But definitely have to check one out. But that, if you aren't familiar with Broadway or shows or theater in general, you hear that someone was on Broadway, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and in your world, and in everyone that's a part of theater, like, Broadway's like totally the tip top of that era, right? Yeah. But where do you go from there? Like, when, like, you said you moved to LA for a couple of years. Was that for that Disney TV show?
No, I filmed a TV show for quite a while in Vancouver called Some Assembly Required.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that could be considered a big break, because that was like, I was the main character on a show. It was 4 years on a TV series. It was like the dream. It was an awesome show, and I definitely got a lot of recognition from that. But and then I moved to LA. I moved to LA actually after high school. It was like all my friends and everybody was going to college, and I kind of had to make that decision on if I wanted to go to college or university or just continue to work. And I kind of was like, well, I'm just gonna move to LA, because that will be like my idea of university and learning and growing and spending lots of money. And that's what I did. And I moved there, and it was great. I mean, I learned lots and met a lot of people and got into a lot of cool rooms and stuff. And so
what do you take from that experience? Like, it's hard, because like, I've had the same thing, man. When I started this podcast, oh my gosh, this might be a year to the day of my first episode.
Oh, no way. I'm honored. It's a great podcast. I listened to the one with Brad Henderson. I know him. Guy. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I'm a big fan of Bird's Golf. Yeah. He helps me on my golf swing a little bit, and I'm a big fan of Bird's Golf. So I listened to that podcast. It was good.
I just virtual golfed with him, and I was atrocious.
Yeah.
Just a couple months off, but playing against him is
I can't imagine. No, he's awesome. Yeah, he's given me a lot of good tips. He's
that's hilarious. He's a good guy
for sure.
So going to LA, like, I've thought about the same thing, man. Like, you're like, I have this dream. Where is it best executed? Like LA, Austin, Texas, wherever these big podcasts are. Yeah. Then you can have people across from you, like being in Tavistock. Like, I didn't realize you're that close, or I might even just ask you to come here, but
totally
crap. But anyway, being there, you can have people that are so much closer, people that all are like-minded, want to be in social media, want to push to create a better life for themselves, talk to random people about stuff going on in their life. What, when you got to LA, like you said, that it did make a difference.
Yeah, I think, when I was working and doing like Some Assembly Required, but then also still being in high school, acting had a very like extracurricular thing for my headspace, which was I think probably healthy at the time, but it just seemed like something fun to do. I didn't really focus on the money or like a job aspect. It was simply just like a fun thing to do. And then after high school, it was like, okay, like, I guess this is my job now. And that was a big switch to like really look at that as like a entrepreneur almost of my career versus like something that's fun. So when I moved to LA, it was like, yeah, to grow my career. And that's just what they all said, was to go to LA and go for pilot season, which is, a part in time when they audition for a lot of new TV shows. And I did it and it was great. But I kind of realized by being in LA that I loved home so much. And I think what made acting so much fun was that I didn't rely on it and didn't focus on it 24/7. When I'm at home, I'm doing my thing. I'm hanging out with friends. I'm doing other things. And then acting also happens. And it's great. When I was in LA, all I focused on was acting. And it became very I think detrimental actually to my work. So after doing LA, I got to come home and just enjoy my life. And honestly, since I've come home, I haven't had a better time in my career. So I'm very grateful for LA to experience that. And then I came back and now I'm just enjoying living in Ontario and then going where I need to go when I need to do it.
That's a very, very mature way of looking at it. Like you might need to write a book here.
Oh man, maybe one day.
But just think about it. Like you are in high school, you are filming a TV show in Vancouver with a bunch of other actors. Now you have a 4-year spot as a main role. Then you leave to LA just out of high school. Like, this is the dream. I've been acting for 4 years. I was on a Disney was it a Disney TV show? Yeah.
It was a YTV Netflix
YTV
show. Yeah, but it has the Disney vibe, so same thing. But yeah.
Then you go to LA and you're like, you know what? Like, I like to be home. Like, that's what keeps me grounded. That's a big move for you to just come back here and just be like, everything's going to be okay. I can act. They know what I can do. I'll push from here. I can do stuff from here. I still do what I love. I can still go where I love to go. That is definitely not a common situation when you had success.
For sure.
To go there and come home.
I just realized I love acting, but it's not the only thing that I love. And I think that was the biggest thing, was like, I wasn't willing to sacrifice everything else to just act. And I realized what made my acting potentially better was that mental healthy space that I was in and that I can currently stay in when I'm at home with friends and family. When I was in LA by myself, it just was so isolating. And I think it just came through in my work. So I'm really thankful to have that experience, to be back and like realize kind of what I have, just being a homebody.
Now, if someone offered you right now, let's just say fairy pops out of nowhere, magic lamp, you can choose to either be the biggest musician in the world or the biggest actor. Where are you going?
That's such a hard question. I get asked that question all the time. The bad answer would be I wouldn't choose. And as a career, someone that I look up to a lot is like somebody like Justin Timberlake, who like successfully can do music and acting. Hugh Jackman does a lot of theater and music, but also some great films. It's hard to say. Music started as my love. But I just have been acting so much recently that I feel like acting has been the thing that's been rolling and something that I want to do. But I always want to be able to go back and forth. I always want to. So it's really hard to say which one I would rather.
So a musical theater is kind of like your space.
Musical theater is like the home space. Yeah, that's what I started doing. It's definitely my first love in terms of like working in this business, and I love to go back to it. And then it also is great when I can do like musical films and stuff. Like, I'm really excited about Disenchanted, which is this new movie that will be coming out. It's got a lot of really famous people, Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, Idina Menzel. And I got to work with like Alan Menken and Steven Schwartz, who Alan Menken's written like every Disney song possible, and Steven Schwartz wrote like Wicked. And so I love when I get to work on a movie that has singing in it too, a musical. I love musicals, so yeah, it's great when I can do that. But it's also, I love doing straight acting as well.
Have you approached Disney yet and asked to be in the remake of High School Musical?
That's hilarious. That's funny. Yeah, like they have that series, the High School Musical, the musical series.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of it?
No, it's a
pretty successful show. But that's funny.
Is there like I don't know anything about acting, so like I'm speaking very blindly here.
Yeah.
But where do you even start with? Do you show up? Do you have like an agent that gives you ideas of where to apply, or do you have like some kind of a website that posts all these different acting positions, or how does this even start?
Yeah, I mean, like obviously every person and where you are in your career it's a different way of getting work. But the like average and general way of someone getting a job as an actor is, yeah, you usually have an agent, or some people have multiple agents or a manager. And those people are kind of in charge of overseeing all of the potential jobs that you could get. They send you an audition that a casting director would have sent them. If they think you're right for the role, you do the audition, whether it be in person pre-COVID or now on Zoom or self-tapes. And then, yeah, from there, you might have a callback, and that's kind of how the general thing. Sometimes you get like the more into the industry you get, you might just get offered a part if like a writer or director has already worked with you and wants you for that part. But yeah, usually you have an agent, they give you an audition, you do the audition, and then it kind of goes from there.
So pre-COVID, you apply for a job and they want to like audition you. You're flying to wherever you got to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you don't fly unless like you do fly if you're down to the final three. For instance, I had many times when like I'd be down to the final three or final two on a job, so then they fly you to Los Angeles or fly you to Vancouver to like be in person with them. But then most of the time it's like the auditions are just in Toronto, so just be driving to Toronto all the time for auditions.
So is that a big hub? Like, is there like? Sorry,
yeah, I mean Toronto,
like LA.
Yeah, like Toronto and Vancouver are the biggest hubs in Canada. And they're just getting bigger. They're extremely big. A lot of things can still fly out of LA, but Toronto and Vancouver are very, very big, and any actor can just live in Toronto and Vancouver and work as an actor. It's absolutely possible, and it's only getting bigger.
That's good. The scene needs to expand in Canada, in my opinion.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really great. That was another reason I moved to LA. Obviously, was like the scene wasn't as big even 5 or 6 years ago. It's very big now, which I'm very grateful for.
Now, what's your favorite role so far, as for either TV or movies? And it doesn't have to be related to money or time or how long it was, just your favorite role to actually do.
Oh, that's a really great question. It's a great question. I would say maybe my favorite two would be the one would be doing Some Assembly Required for sure. Doing like obviously Some Assembly Required is intended for like probably the age range is like 5 years old to 12 years old, so it's a very kiddie show, but it was extremely fun to do. People don't really understand like how hard it is to do kid TV. Everything has to be very specific, and the beats have to be perfect, and the jokes have to fly and land, and it's very precise. And it was very energetic, and it's just like, to have to be that energetic and hyper at 7 a.m. wasn't always easy. So it was like a very hard thing for me to do in the best way. And I loved the challenge, and like I was in every scene and had a lot of lines. So I just loved the work that show required. So I really enjoyed that. And then probably recently, definitely like Disenchanted was a really, really fun role. I get to do a lot of really awesome things in that movie, which I'm excited for people to see. I got to learn how to like ride a horse. I got to sing and dance in that movie. I got to act a lot of really cool people, and yeah, the role itself I really enjoyed. So probably those two.
How hard is it not to talk about what you were in? Like if it's not out yet?
Yeah, it can be hard, especially with Disney. Disney's very secretive. There's other shows, like I just finished filming this sci-fi show, and like, of course you can't really give out like, obviously you can't give out major plot lines, but like sci-fi was pretty chill with like posting pictures on set and like, talking about your stuff, where like Disney is insane. Like you can't post anything. Like even when I got Disenchanted, which is like the biggest movie I've ever gotten, I couldn't talk about it for 2 months. So I couldn't even tell like my close friends and family that I had got this role, and I was like already in Ireland shooting. So like Disney's crazy. So that is really, really difficult to, Disney's very tight with their stuff. And as they should, because they have so much hype, and they like to put out presses and release stuff the way it works.
They're clearly doing something.
It obviously works. So it's an honor to be a part of the Disney family in that way. It
makes a lot of sense when you were talking about Some Assembly Required. where you talk about the fact that you have to make sure stuff lands. And I know it's kids, and some person listening to that's like, a kid's gonna laugh regardless. Like, hit yourself in the head with a pan for all they care.
Right.
But you do, now that you say that, and I look back at all the like TV shows I watched as a kid. Yeah. There's like that like pause, and then like the punch, and then like the crowd,
the laugh, the laugh track, exactly. And it's a fine art. It really is. And like, people don't get it. Like, they watch the show, and I'm like, yeah, well, you know, you're 30 years old. I wouldn't really want you to like this show. Like, it's not really meant for you. You know what I mean? If you like it, there's a problem.
You got some, you know, whatever you watch is what you watch, but you do you.
Exactly. But yeah, no, there is a very specific beat in with that show. And with my character in particular, it was also challenging because I wasn't really the funny guy. I was like the only character in the show that wasn't that funny. And I'm what they call in sitcom world, the straight man, which is basically someone who's like very steady and stays the course while all the other craziness is happening around him. And it's like my duty to keep like everything kind of moving, and I set up the jokes. I don't necessarily have the jokes, so I learned a lot in comedy that I've been able to put in all my other work. Even if it's like a dramatic TV show that doesn't involve that kind of acting, there's still little bits of rhythm and things you can use. So it was a great learning tool doing that show.
That's really cool. I watched your demo on IMDb, and I was going through like just trying to see like what you've done or what maybe I've seen. You did a scene, you were in a hospital bed. What show was that?
Yeah, that was also, that demo reel is extremely outdated, but that is from a show called Saving Hope, which was on TV.
Oh my gosh. Do you ever look through it and you're like, oh, like, do you get to update it?
Yeah, you can. IMDb is weird where like anyone has access to the IMDb. I don't really know how it works. Like the bio that's on there isn't even, I don't know who wrote that. It's not me. But yeah, like you definitely can update demos and stuff. I have a lot of new like, it's weird. Like, I've been filming for the past 2.5 years, but most of the things that I've been filming aren't out yet. So obviously, you know, I can't be showing demo reels and clips of my work if the project's not out yet. So I'm looking forward for the next like this year 2022 for a lot of things to kind of roll out.
So you are Zelly in Sneakerella.
Yeah Sneakerella is
it's shortly
it's a modern twist on Cinderella. It's set in New York. It's very like hip-hop driven, and instead of like a girl Cinderella, there's like a young teenager guy named Elle. So the genders are swapped, and then I play one of the evil step brothers versus stepsisters. And yeah, his name's Zelly.
Because like when you go through it, it shows you as a main character. And I was watching the trailer and I was like, am I missing something?
Yeah, no, I'm not in the trailer. Yeah, the trailer. There's a lot going on in that movie. They obviously kind of showed the new aspect of the movie, which is like, it's a very like a sneakerhead hip hop driven movie. And I think in the trailer they really wanted to get that across versus like the shenanigans that the typical stepbrothers or back in the day stepsisters did. So yeah, but no, I am in the movie. I got to see a clip. I got to see a cut of the movie a couple weeks ago. I'm excited for it to come out.
That movie's gonna move.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Disney movies, they know how to make them. You know what I mean? They have this formula. They have this look. And yeah, it attracts viewers. People like Disney movies. So it's been an honor to work for multiple Disney projects in the past couple of years.
Does that like getting on your first one? Like, I don't know if every agency that you apply for positions through. I don't know how to talk about acting.
I got you. No, I love it, and you know what? It's great because most people don't. So you are related to the people.
So these positions that you apply for, these roles that you apply for, obviously all of them are going to be through like different. Like Disney's a organization, like all these different, like what is it, like a
production company?
Yes. Yeah. So you're always going through those, correct?
Yeah. Like I'm simply just auditioning or in talks with different productions, different movies, different TV shows, and So when you're applying for a Disney movie, was the first one like the steps to get into a Disney movie harder than any other? Right. Yes. It's insane. It's insane. Sneakerella, for instance. Well, in the past 8 years, I would say I've been like in the Disney circle. I've been really close to getting a lot of Disney movies and then not getting it. And like, it's been a lot of ups and downs with Disney. And then Sneakerella happened. And I think I had 7 or 8 auditions, which is like an astronomical amount of auditions for a role. You do one audition, you get notes, you do it again, then you have a meeting with the director, then they have producers. Like Disney is such a big machine that like in order to get a job, like 30 different Disney execs need to sign off on you kind of thing. So there's a lot of different steps in order to get a role. And sometimes it's a bit more smooth. For some reason, Disenchanted was a very smooth, quick audition process for me, which is funny because it's the biggest movie I've ever done. But yeah, Sneakerella in particular was a very it was a long process. Also because I have a twin brother, so it was matching the two people together. Which, sorry, I don't have a twin brother in real life. I have a twin brother in the movie. So matching us together, I think, took more time for like chemistry reads and like finding the fit for the two of us.
That's fair, and that's why I was wondering if Disney was a little bit longer of a stretch. But you typically see some actors that have done Disney movies or Disney shows in other Disney things. You know what I mean? Like they either get another role, or I'm wondering if the first one was hard, like it's a lot of additions they got, and then with Disenchanted, obviously another Disney movie. Now you said it was a lot smoother, but I'm wondering if it's because you're like already under this Disney umbrella as like an approved actor. Like, is that
absolutely
a thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. That really depends. Yes, being in a movie with Disney and meeting all those producers and stuff definitely gets you in the family of Disney. So it definitely helps. Disenchanted was a little different because it's a theatrical Disney movie versus a TV Disney movie. Sneakerella is a TV Disney movie, so it's like, you know, going on Disney Plus and that kind of thing. Where Disenchanted is a bigger production theatrically. So actually, there was less people involved in the audition process, which was interesting. So I can't say that doing Sneakerella put me on like Adam Shankman, the director's radar for Disenchanted. But for other Disney projects, absolutely doing certain projects will help. And also now obviously doing Disenchanted will help in future stuff. Yeah, it's not a coincidence that a lot of people end up doing a lot of Disney projects kind of back to back or being in that Disney family.
Makes a lot of sense. Have you ever like done an audition for a project and by the time you were like either going to get the part or not, turned it down because you didn't like the project or what you would have had to been doing?
Yeah, I've done that a few times. It depends on where you are in your career. You know, sometimes it's been scheduling conflicts or a lot of the times it's like you have to choose between different projects. Like you might book 2 different movies, but they film at the same time. So that, you know, obviously is annoying because like you would love to do both, but it's impossible. So that could be a reason. Sometimes it's just content that you're not comfortable doing. So yeah, that can happen. I generally doesn't happen too much because if that's the case, I usually just don't audition. If there's something that I already see that like wouldn't be something I'm comfortable doing or want to do, or it doesn't work with the kind of career path that I want to go, I just won't even audition. But yeah, it can happen sometimes.
Like the type of actor you want to be.
Yeah, you know, it's like the thing about this job is like, it's just, you have an empty palette, an empty blank thing, and you're just building this career, you know what I mean? And you're picking the projects that you want to be known for. And it can be challenging in the beginning of your career because you're so desperate just to work and so desperate to just be able to do this. So you are willing to do anything. And I've definitely been in that, and it can happen. But then when you start to get some work and stuff, then it's really important to like choose the projects that you're doing so that you kind of can, I'm not in this for the short run. I want to do this for the rest of my life. So in order to do that, I need to make sure that I'm continually building like a successful career in terms of the products that I do.
Now, at this stage in your life, like some actors you've seen do a specific type of role really, really well, and that's the type of the role they do in every movie they're in. Mm-hmm. You also see a lot of actors, or maybe not as many, definitely not as many, that are so versatile and can do a comedic role and then can do a very serious role or anything like that. But I feel like that's a lot to do with age. Like I feel like with at your age right now, with being 22, obviously you're not going to be some successful guy in some movie that's 40 years old, obviously.
Right.
So that's obviously something that you could look at future career for what type of actor you want to be, right? Absolutely.
And that's kind of where it comes down to like choosing the projects. It's like right now I'm kind of been doing the Disney thing and doing more young adult stuff. I started with doing kids shows, and now I'm kind of growing out of that. And yeah, you just continually grow. Of course, I would love to, have a huge range of like roles and doing some really serious roles, really emotional roles, really funny roles. And I'm trying to do that. Even just in the past 2 years, the shows that I did, like Lock and Key. I'm in Lock and Key, and I play like kind of a douchebag and like just super not a fun guy, just an asshole, just a jock, you know what I mean? And that's super fun to play. And then Sneakerella, I was like the villain and like the comic relief of the entire, not the entire movie, but like one of the comic reliefs of the movie, which was fun. And then Disenchanted, I'm a lot more grounded. So I'm already trying to like do that, and when it works, it works. So yeah, but it's something to think about for sure. And I mean, obviously there's actors like who do it better than most out there who are just so fantastic. And I definitely can look at those people as inspiration and motivation for how they do it so successfully.
Are you ever afraid of putting yourself into a lane where you're not going to be able to get roles outside that lane because everyone's only ever seen you do one style of acting? Is that ever a fear? Like there's certain actors that you would never be able to take seriously in a serious role. There's just no way. Like imagine Will Ferrell trying to like,
but he tries it, and I actually love any movie Will Ferrell does. There's a big debate with me and my friends because like the serious movies are like, oh, I'm like I love Will Ferrell, but yeah, exactly. Like yes and no, but also it's like I'm also fine to just do what I do well. You know what I mean? And if I don't really know what that is, but if the industry wants to kind of tell me what I do well and I can continue to work and do that, I'm also happy with that. Like
that's true.
That's the other thing with acting. Is like a lot of it's not in your hands, and like in order to do a job, especially at the level that I'm at, so many people need to say yes to you before you can do that job. So if someone wants to tell me that this is what I do well and this is what I should do, I'm down to do that kind of thing. I'm not at the point where I can just like choose what project I do, and you know what I mean. And as long as I continue to work, I'm happy. But definitely down the road, I'm always looking at that, diversifying myself, and something I'm always looking at.
Do you still have that crazy fear of not having work?
Of course, yeah. Every actor has it, and every actor has it.
I'd be stressed out.
Yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing that I had to start to navigate was like, okay, like how do people do this? And that's why I'm really become obsessed with podcasts. Actually, I do my own podcast as well. It's called Breaking Down the Fourth Wall, and it's nice. I just talk to actors or people in the industry because I'm really obsessed with learning how people that I know how they do this successfully for a living and the tips and tricks that they have to do this as a career. And I'm really obsessed with hearing that because how
long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for less than a year. I started like last February. It's only been season 1. I'm kind of in the off season right now, but I'll definitely ramp it up again for the next year. And yeah, it's been fun. We just have, an hour long conversation with people that I know and admire who do this for a living. And it's just great to hear because you hear all these different people in different ways that people can do this. And it's really inspiring. So yeah, the fear, it can always be there in terms of like, oh, I'll never work again. But you also have to be realistic and like be confident in your work ethic and like, if you continue to work and if things are going, you just got to hope that it would continue to do so.
I am stressed out thinking about it.
Yeah, man, it's a different world, but it's funny because like so many people, it's just like acting seems like something that's very unattainable, but it's no different than another job that's like a self-employed worker or a businessman. People are like, oh, you're a businessman. Okay, cool. They don't really think about it, but it's like, it's the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're all self-employed. We're all just like finding the next job, and some can do it other than most. A lot of actors have side hustles, and that's amazing. And you make it work. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to make it work. And that's kind of the main thing. If you want to do this for a living, you can't expect just to like get all the checks and the financial freedom right away. You might have to work at it and have a side hustle and make it work. That's really the biggest thing.
So are you a millionaire yet?
I wouldn't say I'm a millionaire, but no, I wouldn't say I'm a millionaire, but no, I'm very happy for the things I've been able to do. And yeah.
You're 22, man. You got a lot ahead of you. You've already look at what you've done already. Like I'm not sitting here. This is a podcast to pump your tires, by the way. Kevin told me to put you on so that I could.
That's what I know. I was telling Kevin, I'm like, dude, you're like my self-proclaimed publicist. That those people are expensive. Thank you.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. No, but that's cool, dude. Like listening to what you've done already, just with being in 2 Disney movies, moving to LA, coming back, doing music. That's a lot of stuff. You're 22, and like, yes, you said you did start young. I get that, but still, like, to be back where you were, like in the area where you started, and still being successful at it, and still pushing and grinding, and doing your side hustles and doing your podcast, like that's, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, that's how I stay sane. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of the biggest thing. So I don't rely on acting and don't worry about it so much. Is like when I'm not working, I'm doing music and I'm doing a podcast. And like, I have all these other avenues that I do so that I'm not stressed, because there's a lot of people who just are sitting by the phone or sitting by their email, waiting for the next audition or waiting for the next job. And like, I just don't do that. I'm just constantly moving and constantly doing something else and working with something else, whether it be my music or my atrocious golf game, you know what I mean? And I just find things to like obsess about. So I'm not always just worrying about my job.
We'll have to get together with Kevin and see that atrocious golf game.
Oh, I'd love to.
I would love to make you feel real good about yourself.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Well, let's please set it up. That'd be great.
Have you reached out to Justin Bieber yet?
Justin, that's fine. Everyone says that when I say I live in Stratford. Yeah. No, just that's so funny. I've gotten the chance to meet Justin a couple of times and hang out with him and stuff. And yeah, he's a very talented guy.
He's one of the cases where he was really young when he started, and he's really, really changed as a person. I
mean, what can you expect when you take a 12-year-old and
hand him $100 million,
the fame that he is, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy. Actually, like the first show that I did at Stratford, I remember walking past him busking outside of the theater, and people backstage would be like, wow, you guys see that kid? Like he's so good, like blah, blah, blah. And like, I remember walking past him, when I was going to the show, the time when I was more successful than Justin Bieber, and then that changed. But no, full circle later, he reached out to me, and I got to connect with him, and we had a bit of a relationship there for a little bit. And yeah, he's so talented and insanely successful. And I mean, it'd be very hard to not, I don't know how I would deal with that amount of, I don't know how I would deal with that amount of success and
fame, and never be able to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't even think I knew that he was a part of the Stratford Theater.
He wasn't. If you see like the documentary, he like is known for busking, which is like, just playing with his guitar outside of the theater on the steps, and like he would leave his guitar out, and people can drop him a little bit of money if he's in. Like that's kind of how he got his start, was people videotaped him busking outside of the theater, and then whoever saw him, and
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the things I really wanted to ask you, such a change of pace, but different person that I was looking at, Dylan Playfair.
Mm-hmm.
You worked with him on the Some Assembly Required.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you reached out to see if you could be an extra on Letterkenny yet?
I would love to be an extra on Letterkenny. Yeah, everyone loves, especially from Norfolk. It's actually really funny because I mean, obviously now Letterkenny is like a massive success and everybody knows it, but there was a little bit of time there where like it was just like known for that YouTube video that he did, like the hockey baseball player chirps.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't really, I mean, it got a lot of views, but like in terms of like in a city with like city people, they didn't watch that as much. But like in Norfolk, like he was a god, and I kept telling him, like, dude, like you are a god where I'm from. Like everyone loves you and everyone talks about you, and everyone's like, you're on that kid show. Oh, Dylan, you don't like Dylan. Anyways, yeah, no, and it's been awesome to see his success, and he's a great guy. He's one of my favorite people working on Some Assembly Required. He's a great friend, and awesome to see his success as well. He's been killing it.
That's the reason why I brought it up, is because that's what my question was. People that you act with for a longer period of time, like you acted with Dylan for, I'm assuming, was he on the show the same amount of time, like 4 years?
Yeah, we were all on this together. Yeah.
Do you keep those relationships throughout the industry? Like I'm sure there's some people that you probably don't get along with. That's just humans in general.
Of course. Yeah.
But when moving from, I guess it's kind of, acting's kind of an every man for themselves.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's literally that, man. For me, I've done enough jobs now where I don't go into a job hoping to make friends. And that's not that I'm not talkative or closed off. I'm extremely talkative and open person, but I just, because I'm aware that we're going to do this, and a lot of the times you're just going to part ways. You're never going to speak to these people again. But it's so amazing when you do end up working with someone that you click with, that you connect with, and then you can continue that relationship. And yeah, I have obviously just, from doing this since I was 8 years old, I have a lot of friends who I met on a job, and we continue to be really great friends now. So that definitely happens. And yeah, with Dylan and a couple other people in some assembly required, very, very close with. And
That's
really
also
family.
That's probably the longest project you've done, right?
Yeah, and there's something about doing that kind of show. You can either make or break a relationship because you're with the same people. It's kind of like high school. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, and that was my high school. I did it from grade 9 to grade 12. So, seeing
how does that change high school?
Yeah, I never actually went a day of real high school. I had to do all my high school online. So, yeah, I've only done online high school. I've never actually stepped into a real high school before.
So why? Because of how much you're gone?
Yeah, it was also, I think it was because of the fact that the show filmed in Vancouver. So it was like, I was enrolled in a high school. I was going to go to a high school in Norfolk, but then I had to film for 8 months out of the year in Vancouver. So obviously doing that was impossible. So yeah, the only option, I was working in Vancouver 8 months out of the year, 12 hours a day. So there was no way to do school. So I had to do school online, which was tough, but I'm really grateful for being from a small town and being from Norfolk, because I had all these friends, from elementary school, and I still was able to go to like parties and stuff. And I got a lot of friends through high school, and I still feel like I went to high school. Like I still talk back at my high school days, even though I actually never went to high school, because luckily the town is small enough, like people knew who I was, and I was able still to connect with people and go to parties. I went to prom, I went to semi. I really never lacked on any of the social outside of high school stuff. And I'm really grateful for that, because I think that would have changed a lot. So I don't think I lacked anything except for just going to have to go to school. You got the
best parts of high school.
Yeah, no, I did. Go. I'm so grateful. Yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, you missed out on so much. I'm like, no. I know. I've been to prom. I've been to many parties. May 2-4 at Turkey Point. Like, yeah, no, I've done it. So I'm really grateful. Really grateful for that.
Turkey Point Hotel. What a good time.
Oh, the hoder.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, man. Can I sign up? Why couldn't I sign up to do online schooling and just show up to the parties, prom?
It was great. It was great. But honestly, no, I think I do wish I experienced that. I'm a very social person, and I think I would have really enjoyed an environment like high school and playing on sports teams and that stuff that I really regret in my life. And I don't regret it in the sense I wish I did something different, but it's too bad I couldn't have made it all work, because I would have loved to play on a high school football team, and you know what I mean, and experience that. That was something that I wanted to do since I was super young, and it's upsetting that I never got to do that. But with this job, takes a lot of different types of sacrifices, So
not 1 year, year you got to go to high school. It was 4 years of the shows, your 4 years of high school.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I got to go to elementary school, JK to grade 8, but yeah, no, some assembly required, took up my entire high school career.
That's kind of weird how that landed.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. So
how did that work? How would that work with your parents? I guess growing up, you were so talented with music and with acting and with Broadway and with all these things. Obviously that kind of changes how your childhood's going to play out regardless. But how does that work? Was your parents your agents? That would be so
no. So yeah, I grew up kind of with I had a single mom, and then my stepdad was in the picture since I was 8 years old. So the two of them really just were everything.
It's amazing.
They took me, and it's really great because they also both they're from Norfolk County. They had no idea what this industry was, but we were all learning together. So my mom had to take many years of absence out of work to be able to go do Lion King with me and be on tour with me for a year and a half, because I was 10 years old. She had to come to Vancouver with me, and then my stepdad took time off work to come to Vancouver with me for the third season. The two of them would have to drive me 2.5 hours to Toronto for a 2-minute audition, 2.5 hours back. My stepdad would drive me to Stratford, and my mom would pick me up. They were insane, and the road running that they did was unbelievable. I'm forever grateful, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the sacrifices that they did for me.
That is amazing, and there's probably some people that wouldn't give the credit for that, some selfish people. I might not give anyone credit for anything.
It's obvious. It's obvious. I just couldn't do the things that I did without them, and
especially at that age.
Yeah, that's the thing with being a kid actor is you need a lot of help because you can't drive and you can't do emails, and you know what I mean, and that kind of thing. So
your thumbs can't touch both sides of the
exactly.
screen.
Yeah, I know. So they were really crucial for me and my development. I'm super, super grateful for them.
So now it's 2021. Disenchanted is done. Sneakerella is done. They're both releasing. Actually, I think isn't Disenchanted next year?
It's 2022. Yeah. They
Hasn't been released yet. I'm not trying to get you in.
No. Yeah, Sneakerella is coming out in May this year. Disenchanted is supposed to come out I think in the fall of this year, and then I did a sci-fi show called Astrid and Lily Save the World, and that's coming out at the end of this month. So
Astrid and Lily Save cool the World.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi show about these two girls who like they by mistake open a portal to this like monster dimension, and like all these monsters take over this town, and like they're the only people who can solve it. And it was a fun show to be part of, and yeah. So
where's that? That's not just on TV.
Yeah, that'll be on Crave actually, on Crave and the Sci-Fi Channel. So I'm pretty sure Canada doesn't have the Sci-Fi Channel, so it'll be on Crave for Canadians to watch.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So you've got where my question started before I lose my train of thought here.
Oh, good.
What's your goal for 2022? I know obviously goals are probably just get more acting jobs, get better at music, whatever that may be. But like, do you have stuff that like you try and progress outside of all your career?
For sure. Once again, my golf game.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I just bought a house with my girlfriend. So a big goal is
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So a big goal has just been to like get this house feeling like a home, and I haven't been home like at all this year. I've been gone for like 9 months out of the year. So it's been nice to be back home, and like a big goal is just to like get this house sorted. It was like a new build, so there's really nothing except for a house right now, so we got to like build a deck and do a bunch of stuff. So that is a goal. Obviously in the entertainment industry, it's like, yeah, just keep this momentum going. It's been a really awesome 2 years, and I don't take that for granted, because a lot of people, most people in this time of COVID have really struggled. And I just every day I don't understand why. For some reason, I'm one of the few who've been able to kind of get through this, and I'm really, really grateful. So continuing this momentum, and yeah,
you've worked for where you are.
I guess so. Yeah,
you're very humble. I get that. That's a good thing to have for sure. But like, you busted your ass. You worked as a kid. You didn't get to go to high school. You're where you at because you put the time in. Like, no one can take that from you. Yes, the people who are working through this and not having to struggle through COVID are lucky. Yes, they are, definitely. Yeah. But you also put yourself in the right spot, not knowing that COVID was going to happen. Yeah. But regardless, you got a house. You're 22. I don't have a house. This is kind of BS, but whatever.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, this job is a grind, and there's times of highs and a lot of times of lows, and you just need to understand that you can't get too high and you can't get too low. You just got to stay right in the middle and take the good things when they come and take the bad things when they come. And this career has been a good learning thing for my life, because it's there's a lot of heartbreak that I've kind of had to learn how to take it like an eggshell and just move on.
That's fair. Are you big on social media?
Kind of, like I'm on social media. I should be posting more, honestly. But yeah, no, I'm on there. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and stuff. Yeah.
If someone wanted to see the movies you're in latest, or release dates for that kind of stuff, or see your content, stuff that you're posting, is there a handle that kind of gets into all of them?
Absolutely. I think my Instagram is my most active. So that's just at Kolton Stewart. Perfect. And then in terms of like my acting roles, you can just see all my stuff on IMDb. That's, perfectly. You can see all of the projects and when they're getting released, and IMDb is a great place if you're just interested in acting. And then my YouTube channel, which you just search up Kolton Stewart, has a lot of, my music and my music covers and stuff. And you'll look up my music on Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm all over the social media. I need to be more active, I think, but yeah.
I have the same stress all the time. Like, am I relevant enough? Am I posting enough? Like, should I be using TikTok to try
I just don't love it. Like, no, it's like a thing I tell people, and I'm so proud of myself. The one thing that I'm proud of myself in my life is I've never downloaded TikTok. I've never owned and had TikTok on my phone.
It is
because I see the tunnel. I see the tunnel that people go through, and I would just, I already go through too many tunnels. And so I've never had TikTok. But
the one thing about TikTok that I think would be like beneficial for you is music.
I know I should be on it. That was the thing. I just didn't. And now it's kind of a thing where it's like, I don't have TikTok. But it seems like a lot of, I do watch some TikToks because some TikToks make it to Instagram. And then it's like, oh, well, then it's fine.
Because I don't have the app and I can still say that.
So it's all good.
Well, as long as you don't have Kevin help you build that deck, I wish you all the best.
Oh, gosh. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, no, we definitely need to, we'll go on the golf course sometime.
Works for me, man. I truly appreciate you coming on. It's awesome to hear about your career. Anyone wants to see what he's doing currently, at Kolton Stewart on Instagram, YouTube. Check out his stuff. Check out his music. I've listened to you sing, dude, and it's something that maybe you should do a little more because I enjoy it. I'll check out your YouTube for sure.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Definitely beers on me when things clear up.
I love it, dude. Great. And dude, congratulations on the successful podcast. Me as a startup podcast, I know how hard it is and how much of a grind and how much work it is. It's not just sitting on a microphone talking to someone. There's a lot of things that are involved in the scheduling, and you've done a lot. So congratulations to you.
I appreciate that, man. I hope you have a good night and good luck with the house.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Yeah, have a good one.